Okay. So yesterday we discussed about uh, few measures, right? Like how to use filter inside calculate and how to use uh, all function inside calculate, right? So today we have to discuss two things. One is iterator function and one is time intelligence function. So I'll quickly start. These two things are pending and then we will be done with the DAX measure, right? So uh, what is iterator function? Iterator functions are something which will allow you to loop through the same calculation or expression on each row. Like we had sum function, right? Which if we apply sum of let's say discount price, right? So what it will do, it will sum up, it will look into the entire row and sum up the all the rows, values in all the rows, right? In iterator function, what it does is instead of sum, it will be sum x, right? So, and what it will do, it will look into each of the row of a table and do some calculation first. So, looking at the table, it will do some calculation and then it will sum up.
Miha, I'm sorry. Can you start over? I'm so sorry. I didn't.
Okay. So,
Please.
there is something called iterator function, which is similar to what we have discussed earlier, but little bit different. So let's say, let me actually do the demo so that you guys understand, right? So let me create one measure and then we will discuss. Uh, if I go here and dropped, okay.
Sophie, stop it.
So if I go under sales table, you see we have retail price and we have revenue under sales table, right? So how did we calculate retail price? What we did, we used something called related function and we use product price. So what related function does, this is a calculated column that we have created. This is not a measure. If you see the icon over here means we have created a calculated column and that's why that this column is available in this table, right? So how we created calculated column, we did related and then AW product lookup product price. So looking at each row, what it will do based on the product in each row, product key, which is 360. It will look for the product key 360 in your product table, product lookup table, and it will pull the product price over here. So this is a calculated column that we have created earlier. Similarly, we have created a calculated column earlier, which is revenue. And how we have done it is we have actually multiplied this retail price with order quantity. So what it is doing, it is looking into each row and then it is actually multiplying retail price into order quantity, which we are calling it as revenue. So this is happening row by row. This operation is happening row by row, right? But since this is a calculated column, it is physically present in the table. So these are the two columns that we created earlier using calculated column. Now what we will do, we will try to create these two column using measure. So what happens if we create a measure, then the we can not like this calculated column is not required and then that measure would suffice. So the uh, data space that these columns are taking, that is also will be reduced. So it's always better if you are able to create measure, try to create measure and avoid using calculated column unless necessary, right? It's better to, so I will show like how we can create the same two column using measure, right? So there is a function called sumx, which we call as iterator function. So what sumx function does is it will again look into each of the row. It will again look into each of the row of the table, and then it will have some value in each of the row, and then it will aggregate. So let me create first one of the measure. I will name that as my system seems like it's slow today. It's taking a lot of time. Okay. So what I will do, I will create something called total revenue. Okay. And I will use sum x. Okay. So here under sum x, you have two arguments that you can pass. One is table and one is expression. So you want to do this operation, sum operation in which table? So right now we want to do that summation operation inside sales table. So that's why I will put AW sales over here and the expression. So what do you want to exactly do, right? So how did we calculated total revenue? First, we calculated retail price and then we multiplied retail price with order quantity, right? So the same thing I will do. I will pull under expression. I will put order quantity multiplied by, I will put retail price. Okay. So what I can do, instead of pulling retail price over here that we have created in the table, what we can do, we can use related function over here in this expression itself, and we can put product price aw lookup product price here. Okay, so this is created now. Let me actually have these quantities sold. I will remove all these. Okay, so we had total revenue earlier, and now we have total revenue. Total total revenue just now that we create this. What is this? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you see this total revenue that we had created, One total revenue, let me actually little bit change the name so that you know just now we have created. So we have created this measure right now, total revenue measure. Okay. So if you see total revenue and total revenue measure is having like the same number. That means this calculation is correct. Total revenue measure that we are doing. What is the difference between these two, total measure and total measure revenue? This total measure that we had created earlier, we had used some function and we had directly used the revenue field that we have created using the calculated column. So if you look into revenue, first we created this revenue calculated column using retail price and order quantity. And again, retail price is also a calculated field which we created using related function, right? Now what I'm saying is I don't need actually these revenue and retail price column. I can create total revenue measure using a function called sumx, in which what I can do, I can have table name, and under expression what I can do, I can, instead of creating calculated column which was product price and revenue, what I did, I pulled product price uh, here only. So I have used that related function and I have pulled product price and multiplied order quantity. So what it will do, in each row, this sum x function, why it is called iterator function? Because the way this function works is, first of all, it will go into the first row of a table. It will look for order quantity. It will look for product price, like it will pull product price for that particular row. It will multiply it and have that value stored in the memory in the backend, right? And it will do the same thing in each of the row. And then once it is done in the backend, it will sum this up. So this is sum x, sum iterator function, because it will first calculate value for each row in the backend and then it will sum up and then give you one value. And hence you see that the value that we created using sum x function, which is total revenue measure, is exactly same as total revenue that we had created using sum function. The difference is, in total revenue column, we are using the revenue field that we created using calculated column. And in total revenue measure, we don't need to have any calculated column field, any revenue or retail price physically present in the table. Everything is done in measure itself and there is no change in the numbers. So that's how this sumx function or any iterator function works. Like iterator function helps us to loop through the entire table, do the calculation in each of the tables similar to calculated column, and then aggregate the overall values. So the iterator function has two things: properties of calculated column also, and uh, summation aggregation function. Just that since we are creating measure and since this is a iterated function is a measure, it will not physically present in the table, although the way it works is similar to the calculated column. Any question, anyone?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in here, I don't see any difference between sum and summix. The value is the same, right?
Yeah, so that's what
So
I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead.
so what is the difference?
So that's what
The
I'm
value is the
saying.
same.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it's better to use. So what I am saying is, whenever you can use, if you want not to have these rows, these columns physically present, what we have done here, we have calculated this retail price and revenue uh, individually here using calculated column, right? And if we don't want to do this, don't want to have retail price and revenue, then also we can have the total revenue measure. How we have created total revenue? We are doing sum of AW sales revenue, right?
Yes.
Which, and sum of AW sales revenue, that means it is summing this particular column that we have created using a calculated column. How we have created this revenue field? This was not earlier present. When we were discussing calculated column concept, we created this revenue field by multiplying retail price into order quantity. Right? Now, if we don't create this calculated field, then how would you calculate total revenue? So I'm saying even if you don't do this calculation, even if I delete this column from here, you will have total revenue measure that we created just now, because total revenue measure is not dependent on that total revenue calculated column. This column, it is not dependent on this column. The calculation that we are doing under total revenue measure is everything is happening inside this measure itself, inside the this calculation itself, right? So I'm saying if we want to if we don't want to have this column, and if we want to reduce the what I say, the data space, if you want to keep the data same and don't want any redundant data, because see what is happening here, since we pulled it from another table, we have same number repeating in each row, right? So if we don't want to have this kind of data, redundant data in any table, by creating calculated column, what we can do, we can avoid using calculated column in this case, when we can do the same thing using measure. I can calculate total revenue, the same thing using measure instead of using through calculated column. Do you have any more question? Like, is it clear or are you still confused?
I'm still a little bit confused, but
Okay, no, so what is the confusion? First, tell me, what is the difference between total revenue and total revenue measure? That is the question, right?
yes.
Total revenue, what is the formula for total
No,
revenue that
not
you are
the
saying here?
total revenue measure. Some and
Sorry?
some mix.
Yeah,
The some and some mix.
yeah.
I didn't see any different here, so that's why.
How sum is calculated? What argument you have put in the sum?
Sorry, can you say one more time? I didn't hear.
I'm telling that what argument you have put under sum? What is the formula that we have written under sum?
Biha,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. This may be easier to understand because I understood it easier that way. Can I try to just maybe explain it the way I understand it? Maybe 'cause to
Okay,
help
sure.
understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
So in the event that you're using you're working with an existing calculated column, like whenever column እያለከ ሰራ እንትን ካልሽው calculate ስታደርጊ sum ነው የምታደርጊው because there is an existing column ስላለ. Is it okay if I explain it to her in my language?
Yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead. That's okay.
So
Okay.
ካለሙ እንትን ካለ existed ከሆነ like አሁን የሰራችው ቅድም revenue አለ total revenue እሱን if the columns are in existence within the table sum ታደርጊዋለሽ። ግን አሁን እነ ኢቨንት ላይ እንትን የሌለበት ጊዜ like ቴብል ምንድነው ካለሙ ከሌለ ከቴብሉ ውስጥ ግን ሰም ኤክስ ታደርጊዋለሽ። so ካለሙ ካለ ሰም ነው የምትጠቀሚው some calculation some formula and then ካለሞች ከሌሉ ግን then you do some x x represent የሚያደርገው እንትን ነው ካለም በሌለበት ጊዜ you use you create your
Okay.
own formula ገብቶሻል? it's just that's any ሜሞራይዝ ያደረኩት በዛ ስለሆነ ብዬ ነው የነገርኩሽ።
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So column ካለ ያ sum ነው የምታደርጊው because you're using those columns to calculate so you use the sum formula ማለት ነው but column ከሌለ like የሰጡሽ ቴብል አሁን ለምሳሌ ላይ columnoቹ ከሌሉ እንዴት አድርገሽ ነው how do you calculate so what you do then is you use sum x
Okay. Thank you. Anna.
sort of I don't know then she can explain it to you better እኔ በዛች ስለገባኝ
No,
ነው
no, no,
የገለጽኩልሽ
no. ገብቶኛል። እኔም መጀመሪያ የሆነ በቀላሉ መንገድ እየተረዳሁት መስሎኛል እና
አዎ
ለምን
እንደዛ
ነው
ነው
አሁን
ይሄ
በዛ
ይቀላል
የነበረው
አሁን እኔ
ብዬ ነው
የማውቃት
እንጂ እሱ አውቄዋለሁ፣ ግን የሆነ ቀላል ነገር ነበር። እንዴት ነው እንደዚህ የሆነው ታዲያ?
አዎ ለእኔ ማገላለጫ ስላወኩት ነው እንጂ ቀደም ብዬ አሁን ብታስረዳኝ
Yeah.
ኖሮ እንደ መጀመሪያ አይገባኝም
አሁን
ነበር።
ስትይ
ለምን
ወዲያው ገባኝ። አንቺ ኤግዚስት ኮለም እና ምናምን ስትይ ኤኒቲንግ የሆነ ነገር በቀላሉ መንገድ እንደነበረ እንደውም ደብተሬንም እያየሁት ነበር እና
ያ ሰም ኤክስ የምናደርገው ካለሙ ከሌለ ነው። ካለም ኤግዚስትድ ካለ you just go ሳም ተጠቅመሽ አሁን እዚህ ጋር ብትሄጂ ቶታል ሬቨኒው ሳም ብለሽ AWS sales revenue and then ካለሞቹ አሉ ከዚህ ጋር ደግሞ እንዴት እንዳደረጋችሁ and then you go and put revenue ካለሞችን ታመጣቸዋለሽ እዚህ ጋር as an argument. Yeah. Okay, thanks Miha. I think we are clear. But
Okay, sure.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so I'm not sure like what you explained, but yeah, I think the difference between total revenue and total revenue measure is if like sum and sumx iterator function, that iterator functions works on each row. Like the way we have created this revenue calculated column, right? So how it is working, calculated column first looks into each row and then calculate few things over here, few values over here, right? It is doing row by row operation, and this column is physically present in here. And then we use some formula to aggregate that calculated column, the column that we had created. Now under sum x, what is happening, we don't need that physical column to be present over there. We can do all the calculation inside this expression. The way we are calculating this physical this revenue column, what formula we have written, we have written retail price into order quantity, right? And how we have calculated retail price, we have written related and product price. So we can write that expression under this with order quantity multiplied by related product price. So this will first, how it will work, in each of the row it will multiply order quantity into product price, have some value stored in backend memory for each of the row, and then once that is done it will sum up the entire row and give you the value. Hence, if you see, the values are same, just the difference is this total revenue measure is being calculated using the total revenue using the revenue calculated column that we had created. This total revenue measure just now that we have created does not depend on any calculated column. It's purely you have done all the calculation on your own without any calculated column. In this case, what will happen? Even if we remove this revenue field or retail price field, nothing will change. We won't be able to see those values in the table, but the the uh, the values that we are getting after, or that column we are using to calculate few of the measures, that value we already have it here in the measure, so we don't need that separately, because they are redundant value. You can see like 2049 is repeating multiple times because we have like the same product key here, so that's why the retail price is same. So this is redundant, and if we want to get rid of all of these, what we can do, we can use sumx function to actually have the same number, same value, and we don't need any physical column to present in the table, right? So since these two values are same, what I will do, I will delete this total revenue measure that we had earlier, because both are same, just that the way we have calculated is different. And I will also delete these two columns from here, since this is taking little bit of space and we don't need it now because we have used different measure, which is sumx different function, to calculate the same value. I'll remove revenue and okay. So now nothing has changed. See, we have removed those two columns, even though this total revenue measure is working, because that is not dependent on any of the calculated field. I'll just rename this because this doesn't look that correct. Yep. So now this is the one of the iterator function. that we have used, right? Now I will talk about the time intelligence function. Uh, so in time intelligence function, we have few functions to calculate year till date revenue. So there are few functions which is called date YTD, date QTD, date add. So one by one, I'll talk about each of these. So let me actually go to the sales table
Miha,
and yeah.
sorry. So, what is an iterator function? Exactly what does that do? Like, I know you've explained it. It's going to be easy for me to get. Just explain it to me really quickly, please. What is an iterator function does? What does it do?
Okay, so the main purpose of iterator function is to calculate values in each row. And
Mhm.
so how it works, if you let's say let's discuss again what is difference between sum and sum x. So if I do uh if what we were calculating sum of total revenue, right? Earlier we had one measure wherein we created total revenue. So we had created sum of revenue. So sum function, what it does, it will look into each row, it will directly aggregate the value, right? But what is the difference between iterator function? It will look into each row, generate few value in each row, and then aggregate it. So that is the difference. Sum function or any normal function which is sum without x, in all the iterator function there will be something called x attached to it, like sum x, count x. If I go here and show you, so first of all, how you know that this is a iterator function. uh, so if you type sum, right? Not like this, I need measure, let's say. If you type sum, there's something called x. So wherever x is attached at the end, that means it is iterator function, right? Sum x, count x, right? Calculate, not calculate, sorry, average, average x. So all the formula that we have learned earlier for summation, sum, count, average, all those things, there will be something called x attached at the end, right? So first, how to identify iterator function, that you understood, right? Like if there is x attached to at the end of the same formula, that means it is iterator function. Now how it works, so imagine in the back end, the function is adding a temporary new column to the table. Like it's not physically present. What will happen if I do sum x? So you see there are two arguments, table and expression. So what will happen? The expression will first, it will evaluate the expression. So imagine that expression, after evaluating that expression, is something, a temporary new column is added to the table, calculating the value in each row based on the expression, and then applying the aggregation, which is sum in this case, to that new column, right? So there are two things happening in this iterator function, any iterator function. First, it will evaluate the expression by calculating the value in each row based on whatever expression we will write here, and add a temporary new column to the table, which won't be visible in your existing table. It will happen in the backend, and once that temporary new column will be added or created in the backend, then it will apply the aggregation to that new column, right? So two things are happening over here. We don't need any physical column to be present and do the aggregation. That temporary column will be created using this expression, and then some function will be applied on top of that. Why we call it iterator function? Because the value will be calculated in each row. In each row, it will look into all the columns, whatever expression we will write in each row, it will generate one value and then do the uh, aggregation. So that's why we call is iterator function, because it iterates through each row for the entire table and then the aggregation works. Is it clear?
Thank you so, yes, thank you so much.
Okay. No problem. So now we will discuss our last uh, measure, which is time intelligence function. Yeah, this measure and calculated column took a lot of time, but yeah, I think we have covered most of the important things. Like it's we have covered many of the things. So the last thing is time intelligence function. So this is one of the very used uh, functions that we use, because like mostly everywhere, like people ask, if you calculate revenue, so what is the year till date revenue? Like if you are in mid of some month, right? So somebody can ask, what is month till date revenue? Every month they don't want, let's say, full month's data or whatever, so they will tell till 11th or till 12th, what is the total till 11th January, what is the total revenue that happened, month till date? And when you refresh the dashboard, let's say after 5 days, so what is the month till date revenue? So these functions are very important. So I will create one of the measure, which is YTD revenue, and I will show like how to use revenue, how to use time intelligence function, right? So under this, I will use calculate total revenue. So under calculate, you see there are two things, expression and filter. So calculate we have used earlier also, right? So total revenue, just now that we created, comma, what I am doing, there is a function called dates YTD. If I put dates, you see there are multiple things that you have in here. One is dates MTD, one is dates QTD, one is dates YTD. What does all these mean? This means dates month till date, dates quarter till date, dates year till date. So you can calculate for the entire year till date. You can calculate for only this specific month till date, or you can calculate the value for quarter till date. So right now, and then there are two more things, dates between and dates in period. So I will talk about these also, like how to use it, dates in period and dates date between. Dates in period I will use in one of the measure that I will create right now. So I will talk about this at that time. Dates between means you can provide the range, like you want the total revenue to be calculated between two dates, right? So then you use dates between. So I will, right now I will use dates YTD formula. And then under dates YTD, you can put date column from calendar table. So under calendar lookup table, you have date column, right? And then I will close it. I don't need to specify any particular day or okay. In here, I will actually now delete category, name, quantity sold, total revenue. What I will pull is start of month. Or maybe what I can pull is year. Okay. Just a moment. Maybe what we can have is we have start of year and start of week, and then we have month also. Okay. So what we can do, we can have, instead of year, let's have month or maybe date. right? So under date, we have multiple things: year, quarter, month, day, right? So I'll remove all these things. Okay, not like this. Actually, I wanted actual date. So where do we have actual date? Let me see. Date column is this one. 1/1/2016, right? If I pull start of year, what will happen? Okay, let me have this January, February, March. Uh, okay, so for now, let's have this 2015, 2016, 2017, and we have created YTD revenue, right? So we can pull this YTD revenue over here. Sorry, under values. Yeah. So this has the whole year. Now, if I have, uh, instead of this, if I pull this date, right? Okay, let's have this. Okay, let me create one column over here, calculated column, which is start of the month. I will do, I will create one column. Looks like the I need something which is not available over there. Maybe I can create that in here. Where is calendar lookup? Okay, I will go to add column, right? And then start of the week we had added, month name, month, start of the year we had added, and these things we have added, right? Now I will, what one thing I will add is, I will select this date, I will add start of the month maybe, right? So what it will give me? It will give me start date of each month, right? Okay, so now let me actually close and apply this. And then if I pull, it should be here. Okay, now if I pull start of the month in rows, what will happen? And I remove, if I remove this and then quarter, month. Okay. So here right now we have only one because we are in the first month, and why it is showing only one? Hmm. Looks like date field is not working properly. We need to have some data wherein I can show you. Okay, let's do one thing. I can actually show you here also. Let me do one thing. Let me pull total revenue over here and I can show you here also. So let me go to the total revenue, and if you see here, I can show you the difference between total revenue and start. I will remove year and have quarter so that I can actually showcase. I will remove month and day. Uh, Instead of YTD, I will create quarter till date so that it's easier to demonstrate. I'm calculating quarter till date, right? And here instead of YTD, I will use QTD. Okay. So if you see here, uh, I- and in here, to me, start of month and have month instead of quarter. Okay. But these numbers are not matching. Ideally, if I have all the dates over here, I can actually show you the data, but why the dates is not coming in the proper format, that's what I'm seeing. If I have the dates in the proper format, right, then I can demonstrate that. Let me actually showcase short date. If I remove, I need some data in which, because what is happening, I need some data wherein I can demonstrate you how year till date and quarter till date is working. So what is happening for 2015 and 2016, you have like full data. So if I have this column as date field, right? So then it will work. Let me actually, okay, I understood. Instead of doing like this, what I can do, I can pull start of the month and I can actually do like this. Yep, I think it's working. Yep, it's working now. And what I can do is I can change the format for this one. This is looking very weird. If I do short date. Yep, now it's actually looking fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12. Okay, start of them. Yeah, this is looking much better. Now what can I do? 585, 312, 567. Yep. Now I can show you this. Instead of QTD, let's actually have okay, that's also fine. So yeah, now it is better. Actually, I wanted this date into this format because I want to demonstrate like how this year till date or quarter till date values work. So can you see my screen now? Sorry for all the things that I did. Uh,
No problem.
but
Yes, ma'am.
I
No worries. We can see fine.
this is fine, right? So
Mhm.
now under this date field, what I have pulled each month's start date. If you see sorry, 1/1/2015, right? So you have
Mhm.
first date of each month, right? So and this is the total revenue attached to each of these months. Now we have created a measure which is QTD revenue, right? So how we have created QTD revenue? We have uh, used calculate function, and this the measure first under calculate, the first expression is total revenue, and the filter that we are applying is dates QTD. We have used dates QTD function and here in the date column, right? So what does dates QTD means? It will look into dates quarter till date. So and look for the date column in any of the table date column and look for dates quarter till date and then do all the operation total revenue, like do the summation, right? So in one quarter, if you see, I have, let me go up here. Is it not sorted? Yeah, now it is sorted. 2015, 16, 17. Okay. So if you see here, we have 2015 for each month, right? So in one quarter, how many months are do we have? In 1 year, we have 4 quarters, right? And in one quarter, we have 3 months, right? So January, February, March, 3 months will be there, right? So 1, 2, 3. If you see what it has done is it has quarter till revenue for the first month as 585,312. In second month, what it did? Quarter till revenue means you are in February end and it will add January plus February because quarter till date in first quarter you are in the second month, completed the second month. So that's why it is adding 585 plus 532. And then in third month it is adding 585,532,643 and giving you 17.6. So quarter till date revenue for this particular quarter one is 17.6. Then it will restart. Fourth month comes in quarter two, right? So that's why you see here, or maybe what I can do, I can pull quarter also and show you like each of these belongs to one quarter. And okay, I don't have quarter here. Okay, no, this will confuse you. Okay. Sorry. So is this are you guys understanding what I'm trying to tell you? So in one quarter there are 3 months. So for 3 months it got added. Maybe instead of now quarter, let's put year. So it will be more understandable. If I put year over here and then put year till date. So now what will happen for the entire 2015? It will add the value. You see, for 2015 till 2015, it added this value. So in 2015 year till date, the total revenue generated was 64. 64,04,933.98. And then again 2016 it started refresh. So it was 432, then it added in second month, which was 432 plus 474. Then got added 471 in the third month. And at the end of 2016, you see there is something called 93,24195, right, for the entire 2016 month. So the way we are calculating year till date revenue is we are using dates YTD function. So in that, what happens? It will add each of the values till that year. So since this is year till date for the entire 2015, we have seen that we have 64 million for entire million, not 64, 6.4 million, right? And then for 2016, it's 9.3 million revenue that has been generated. And then what happens for 2017? If you see, since we have only 6 months, so in 6 months it's 9.1. How? In first month we had 12.7 12,74377 total revenue generated. In second month we had 13.3, but since we have used year till date, so in second month, how much revenue till February we generated, right? So that is what we need to show here, which is 12,74377 plus 13,39,239. So that's why we are having here 26 as a value. So that is getting added. So now is it clear? Like now, is it understandable what I'm trying to explain?
Yes.
I get confused.
Okay, so what is the confusion? What is your question basically? So year till date is a function, time intelligence function is a function in which you work or play with the dates, right? Since it involves time. Now there are multiple functions that is there, which is dates, YTD, dates, QTD, dates, MTD. What does all these means? That means, let's say you are in a particular month and you want to calculate the total revenue for month till date, right? So let's say you are in 12th, today is for you guys, I think 11th January, right? You want to calculate total revenue that generated till 11th January. So what you will do, you will write a formula which or function which is dates MTD. So what it will do till that particular month, it will actually give you the summation of the entire column or entire uh, field that you want to do, right? So under total revenue, we have sum of the total revenue that has been generated, right? We have total revenue as summation. We are summing it up, and we are telling that sum the total revenue looking at the dates year till date. So if we are in January month, year till date revenue is 585312. If we are in February month, year till date revenue, how you will calculate? If somebody wants you to calculate year till date revenue, that means you have to calculate summation of January plus February, right? So that's what it is doing. It is actually summing up 583512, that revenue that got generated in January, and then in February 532226. So it is giving me addition of 5853 plus 5322, which is 11.17. So year till date in February is 11.17. If somebody is in March, then what it will do, it will year till date would be summation of January, February and March. So that's why it is summing of these three values and giving you this value. So year till date, if you look into December, what it should give you, it should actually add up all the revenue that happened in that particular year and give you the final number. Looking at the total revenue column, you will get to know, like, in each month what is the total revenue happening. But in year till date revenue, what will happen? It will add on each of the rows and give you value, like year till date, what has happened. Is it clear, or do you have any more questions? So you can ask your specific question. Aklilu,
Yeah, I get it. I get
do you have questions?
No.
Okay.
I
Is
have a
it clear?
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What happen if you use the YTDE function instead of calculate?
Sorry.
If you use the YTD
Mhm.
function instead of calculate, the same thing? Like instead of using
No, so
calculate?
no. So dates YTD will only tell you that you need. So this function is only telling you to actually look into date column and do year till date. Like do the calculation which is year till date. But what kind of calculation you want to do in year till date? Do you want to look into total revenue field, or do you want
Yeah.
to do year till date for total quantity, or which particular column you want to do year till date? So you have to give some expression over here, right? This is kind of
Yes.
filter that you want to use in your database, but you need to give some expression for which it will do year till date, right? So we can't use this separately, like as a individual function, because what it will do, there is no, it will look into year till date, but what final output it will give you? Nothing, right? So that's why we need some expression which it will evaluate basis on this filter, which is year till date. So it will look into date column, it will filter out the entire table for that particular year till date, and then it will apply some expression which is total revenue. So if I remove this calculate total revenue, nothing will happen, because what it will do, what it will evaluate, it filtered out, let's say, one table, and it filtered out 3 months. Dates year till date. Let's say we are in March month. Hypothetically, we are in March month. What it will do, dates year till date, it will look into lookup date. It will filter out the entire date till March month. But then what? What output we will get? We want year till date revenue, or we want year till date quantity. So we need to give that argument that do summation of revenue, or look into revenue and tell me like till date how much revenue we have generated, or how much quantity we have sold. So for that, we need to pass some argument over here, which will actually do summation or all those things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it clear? You're like, do you have more questions?
No, it's clear. I just see one expression like the instead of calculate, let's
Mhm.
just say the total YTD
Mhm.
and then a total revenue. So
Mhm.
that's why I ask you about it. Like instead of using calculate function,
Mhm.
uh, total YTD.
So what is the function? Can you tell me? Like from wherever you are seeing?
The function is total YTD. There is no total YTD function. Oh,
Total YTD.
yes.
Total YTD function. Let me check quickly. Or even though there is some function like total YTD, it will. So under total YTD also, what we are doing, we are giving expression, right? So here it will do the summation of. So here we need to again give expression, which means I want that revenue to be calculated. So since in as in calculate, we had expression and filter. Here also under total YTD, you have expression, dates, filter, and you need to put that expression, and basis on this filter, it will actually do or do the summation or whatever expression you will pull here, right? So there are multiple ways you can do it. This is one of the functions that is there, but I generally don't use it depending on the thing. What it is saying, evaluate the specified expression over the interval which begins on the first day of the year and ends with the last day of the year, right? In the
Yeah.
specified date column after applying specified filters. Yeah, so here you can put year end date, year start date, and then expression and filter. So this should also give you the result. There are multiple functions and you can do the same thing using that calculate function also. But I think this will work. Like if you provide proper expression and dates and then filter basis on what you want to filter, then it will work since we have this inbuilt function. So what it will do, it will evaluate the expression. So in that thing,
Okay.
what did total revenue, right? So what it will do, it will look into expression, evaluates is it basis on the interval which begins on the first day of the year and ends with the last date in the specified date column, right? So and you can also apply some filter. So if you want, I can have this demonstration also sometime later, uh, and show like how it works, but seems like this operation or this thing you can do using that function also. So there are multiple functions that are available over here, and don't get confused with lot of the functions that is there. There are few these functions YTD, MTD, and all these things are widely used, and that will suffice your requirement, right? But if you want to specifically use that function, then we can go over that function also and then pull. That is like similar to this function, right? Instead of calculate, it was uh, total YTD, and then you have to put expression. Here, what we have done, we have used dates YTD over here. There you have to specify the start date and then specify the filter if any you want to apply, and then the last date. So the same thing, kind of, right? So I will quickly cover like two more formulas so that like we don't again work on all these. So let me actually do show you one thing, which is date add function, right? Something called date add and then dates in period. I will talk about. So let me calculate. If let's say you are in February month and somebody wants you to calculate prior month revenue, right? Then how you will calculate? So I will write previous month revenue, calculate total revenue, date add. So there is a function called date add. What it does is date, it will look into the date. So I have this date field, right? I will look into, so it will look into the date field. And then if you see there is number of intervals. So you want to date add means it will add particular number to the date, right? So number of intervals means how many days or months you want to add to the current date, right? So if let's say I want to calculate previous month revenue, what I will do, I will look into the date and put like the previous month. So previous month means 1 month prior to the current month. So what I will do, I will put -1. 1 is 1 month, look for the 1 month, and I want previous, that's why minus. If I want to look into previous 2 months, then -2. So you have to specify number of intervals, and then after comma there is interval. So interval in terms of day, in terms of month, in terms of year or quarter. So if I put day, what it will do, it will show me previous days a total revenue. If I do month, it will show me previous month's total revenue. Similarly, quarter or year. So right now, since I want previous month revenue, I will put month. Close. So what will happen? I will remove quickly year till date and I will pull month, previous month revenue. So see what it is doing is when you are in month 2, it is giving you month 1's data, previous month revenue. When you are month 3, it is giving you second month's data. So it is also helpful to calculate month over month change. If somebody wants to look into like what is the month over month change for your analysis. So what you can do, you can calculate previous month revenue and then you can do total revenue, like percentage change month over month using previous month revenue and total revenue filter. So what it will do, it will actually look for, let's say you are in February. So February minus January divided by January. So it's easier in this case. So that's how we have calculated previous month revenue using a function which is called date add. So date add basically adds the date in terms of month, day, year, quarter. So here you need to put the date field in which you want to apply the date add function. Then what is the number of intervals and the interval in terms of day, month, year, quarter. Right? So that's how we got previous month revenue. Is it clear or any question? Any question, anyone?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah, please go
But
ahead.
why it doesn't show for the January? Is it starting from February?
Yeah, because we have the date starting from January itself, right? So for January, we don't have any previous month available. There is no revenue that happened for, like in the data set, January is the first month with in which we sold like multiple items and we generated revenue in our backend data set, right? So for January, we don't have any previous month's information. So that's why it's blank. But from February, previous month would be January. For March, previous month would be Feb, right? So that's why we don't have anything for January because we don't have data prior to January 2015. We have data set only from 2015 to 2017, right? So you won't be getting any number for January month. And which is fine. So whenever you will actually create any of the report, and you need to do month over month or you need to calculate such kind of thing wherein you want previous month or previous quarter number. So nobody expect you to have quarter or month one data because for month one, previous month is anyways, if we pull previous month's revenue over here, it will uh, previous month revenue, it will be December 2014. So since that data is not available, nobody is bothered to have that for the first month because everybody, all the clients will know, right? Then that the data set or the database that they are looking is having the numbers from this date to this date, right? So don't worry about the first instance. That is fine because we are starting from 2015 January, so there is no previous month for January 2015, and hence this is blank. But for rest of the months, we have values, right? Okay, any more question you guys have? Okay, so I will create, let's say for every month there is target that you need to meet, right? So what, like we have sold, let's say 532 to 26, and last month. So what happens is, let's say somebody wants to have that whatever we sold in previous month, I want to sell in this month 10% more. I want to generate 10% more revenue. So that is the target for you in each of the month. right? So let's say I generated 585,312.69. So for the target for February month would be 10% higher than 585,312, just to see like whether we are meeting the target or not. Because every company has some target to achieve, right? Let's say I sold 100 items in January. So the target would be I will sell more than 100 items in February, right? Nobody wants that. Since we have sold this much, uh, we go down from that number, right? So let's say if you have want to create some target number for each month, looking at the previous month revenue, what we can do is we can calculate target for each month using previous month revenue field, right? So what I will do, I will write revenue target for each month. This will be calculated for each month revenue target. Oh, this is not working. Okay, and then I will put previous month revenue multiplied by 1.1. 1.1 means higher than like 10% higher than what we have in previous month, right? And if I pull revenue target over here, here is revenue. Yeah. So the revenue target for each of these months is 643. So looking at the revenue target and the total revenue, somebody can identify that, okay, the target was higher or lower, whether we have meet the target in each of the month or not, right? So for that purpose, this number is there. If we are meeting the target that we have set, or if we are not meeting the target, then do we need to change something from our end, right? So that's why we have calculated this revenue target field. And this is like simple multiplication of previous month revenue multiplied by 1.1. So nothing, no major formula that we have used in revenue target. There's one formula which is widely used, uh, rolling revenue, right? Or running total you say, or rolling total you say. So that is one thing that I want to cover, which is the last function. So let's say if I want to calculate 10-day rolling revenue. By rolling revenue means like summation of 10-day rolling revenue means it will add till 10-day and then it will start fresh. So let me actually first write it and then we will discuss this. 10-day rolling.
I
Excuse
mean,
me,
I don't see a screen.
excuse me,
You
Mia.
don't? Yeah.
We don't see your screen.
I don't see the screen.
Since when?
Almost in a couple, 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So is it visible now? What did you guys miss? Were you able to see this revenue target
Now
calculation?
No,
I
Okay. Previous month revenue, were you able to see this previous month revenue that we calculated using date add function?
yes.
yeah, I see it. I see it now.
Okay, so revenue target is simply what I have done, nothing major in revenue target. What I have done is under revenue target, I have multiplied previous month revenue multiplied by 1.1. So in many organization, what they do is they will give you target for each of the month. Like you have this target and you have to meet it and then see whether you are meeting the target or not. So basis on the previous month revenue, like I have created a column which is revenue target, which is 10% higher than the previous month. So this is one of the field, no time intelligence function involved. This is like just for, we will look into the visualization, how to use it, but these are few things that will be used in the report. So that's why I've created revenue target. Now, one of the important thing that I am trying to show is 10-day rolling revenue. Okay, this rolling concept or running total concept is very important. We can use it using quick measure or we can write in formula over here, right? So what I will do, I will write calculate total revenue and then dates in period. So there is something called dates in period function. Similar to MTD, QTD, YTD, there is something called dates in period. Under dates in period, you have to pull dates, start date, number of intervals, and intervals, right? So dates I will pull from calendar lookup table, which is date column. Okay. Then you have start date, right? So start date would be max of calendar date. Okay. And then there is number of intervals. So if you want to look into 10-day rolling total revenue, or let's say 15 days, so depending on what kind of thing you want to look into, the number of interval you need to put. So since right now we are calculating 10-day rolling revenue, that means we want to look into 10 days and then we want to actually sum last 10 days revenue. So that's why I under number of intervals I will put 10 days and previous 10 days, right? So that's why minus. So minus 10 and interval. So interval in terms of days. So again here you can put days or months or anything. So day. Okay. Okay. So now under this, I will remove all the other things. I will pull mm, 10-day running rolling revenue. And this one, actually, let me remove this. So what it is giving me is these are the dates, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I told is do 10-day rolling, uh, calculate 10-day rolling revenue, right? So it is giving me a 22, 50, 68, 76, 97, 10, 35, 147, 159, right? One minute, I'm just checking like how the numbers are coming. So it has dropped from somewhere. Here something looks off. 1 minute. Looks like something is off. Yeah, so this revenue running total is very important. Yeah. So now we have 8, 3. These are right. These looks fine till 10. This looks fine, right? Then it is adding again, I think 31. 31 if 31 619 if I add, will it give me 31 619? This. It looks like this will give me this number. So all the ideally 10-day running rolling revenue should be it should actually only sum up till 10 days, right? And then it should start fresh. Not sure why it's not working here. Let me actually total revenue, dates and period. Looks like this rolling total is not working, but ideally it should work. If I this correct, total revenue is also correct, dates and period, lookup date, okay, and then max of date that I want to look into. Okay. Ideally, it should work. Actually, it should add only 10 days. I'll see what is happening in this one. So I will talk about this rolling revenue again tomorrow since we are like over time and I need to rush. So this 10-day rolling revenue I'll cover tomorrow, and then I think we will be done. I'll see like what is the problem happening in this calculation. Ideally for each of the 10 days it should do this rolling total. So what should happen is till here it should calculate, and then from here it should show 31,619 likewise for the others. So we will see like what is happening. I'll figure this out, and tomorrow I'll cover this, and then we will start the visualization thing. Okay, so basically, we have covered all the measures and all the calculated columns. I'll talk about like few best practices that we should use while creating calculated columns and measures. Okay, so don't use a calculated column when a measure will uh, uh, do the same thing, right? So we had calculated retail price and revenue earlier, right? So now we don't like, if you can create a measure in which all those things will be done, so try to create a measure instead of a calculated column, right? Always try to create explicit measure and no implicit measure so that you can use that explicit measure in any other calculation, right? And one thing, whenever you refer to any column, right? Let's say I'm using 10-day rolling total. So if I'm referring to a column, I will use that the table name. So if you see, when I pulled date column, I used AW calendar lookup date. But whenever you pull any measure, you don't need to write any column, any table name. So that is evident that total revenue is calculated. This is a measure, so uh, you can reference column with the table name and measures without table name. So that is one thing. uh, Best practices, you can have that table name here also, but uh, it's better to like it will be easier to differentiate like which one is calculated column and which one is measure if you follow this convention, right? And yeah, and I think these are the few things that you should keep in mind while creating DAX formulas, right? And one thing remaining is 10-day rolling revenue. I think it should work. There should be some issue that is happening. I need to figure that out. But rest everything we have covered. I will ask Ravi to upload all the videos. I actually asked him
Yes.
yesterday, but he couldn't. So today he will upload everything. And so you can go through all the videos and have like all the look into all the formulas, calculated columns, measures that we have discussed. And then from tomorrow, we will start creating visualization, like what or I will talk about these visualizations, when to use chart, clustered bar, when to use pie chart, and create few visualizations, and have one dashboard ready in next couple of days, right? So creating visualization will be little bit easier because we already have all the calculations in place. So that will be easier and fun to work with. And then I'll talk about some formatting and how to do formatting, how to actually make the dashboard look good. So yeah, any questions you guys have? Any questions?
Of course.
Okay, if no questions, then I think we are good with today's class. We will connect tomorrow and then finish today's pending item and then we will move to visualization part. Okay.
Okay, but please tell him to upload it.
No, he will upload it. I don't know like why it like he couldn't upload tomorrow, yesterday, sorry, but he will do it today for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
great day.
Yeah. You too. Bye bye.